Data security in AI is a very important topic. Interesting topic as well, as we unknowingly or knowingly surrender a heap of personal information every day. My advice to anybody managing or working with AI is to consider what they're putting into the model. So if you put something into that model, understand first of all what the model is. Is this a consumer model? How is the model trained? In theory, how does it develop itself? Is it using the information you're putting into it to enhance its own service? Or is the model actually just replying back with answers? And having that understanding is important and critical, so you know what you can put in there safely.
There are often lots of concerns with AI. I'm not here to say that they are all unfounded, but many of them now have been dealt with by the very large tech companies behind the scenes. It's a little bit like we were concerned with email safety many years ago, but we now know that that's most probably not a massive concern. It's the same with AI. Don't not use AI based on safety concerns. However, if you are using a free version of an AI, think about that in real terms, because if you're not buying a product on the internet, you're normally the product of the internet. So is there a reason why it's free? And so what I would always say for anyone who wants to use AI, use the paid versions, because they are intrinsically so much more safe, so much better, and so much better for you, and in fact, actually the world.
One problem with large language models is we don't necessarily know where all the data has come that is feeding what it gives you. One thing you can definitely do to make sure, if you're worried about your own safety, is to make sure that you're as safe as possible, is to not share any personal information with large language models. Now, if these were being developed responsibly, they wouldn't take that data that you shared with it and then use that with other people. But you don't know, and that's the thing. These things are generally black boxes, and even the people who use them, who create them, don't necessarily know everything about how they work. So to be on the safe side, don't share your company information with it. We're seeing increasingly, for example, a lot of companies saying, don't do marketing plans for our unreleased products through AI, because you don't know where that data might come out. It might come out to somebody else, and your top secret new product that you don't want anyone to know about might suddenly appear in somebody else's answer somewhere in the world. Hopefully not, but it might happen. So don't share that kind of information. Another thing we've seen is the advent of chatbots that kind of talk to you like a friend. There's an increasing number of these things. Maybe you're a lonely person, you don't have many friends, not many people you can talk to. Maybe you want to share intimate details of your thoughts with someone, but they're not human, and so it's quite nice to do that with a chatbot. And there are increasing numbers of companies that will offer chatbots that do that kind of thing, which sounds nice, but just be careful about what you share with these things, because you don't necessarily know how secure that data is. So it might be used within the large language model for other people, or it might be hacked and it might come out to somebody else. It might be leaked out somewhere. Probably not, but to be on the safe side, just be careful with what you share. And if you wouldn't want it to be, this is the same with anything on the internet. If you don't want someone else to ever find out about it, it's probably best not to put it on the internet.
Skepticism is good when it comes to safety and technology. People should be a bit skeptical. We should be asking questions right now, and actually not just at a regulator or a governmental level, but as individuals. The risk to individuals is, I would say, much more limited. There is a possibility that people could pretend to be you using AI. That's worrying. Could create images of you that aren't real. I think that is the minimum embarrassing. But by and large, when it comes to AI and more broadly technology, you're safe as long as you're doing things that you set out to do. I think unless you are pursuing something particularly risky, unless you are, trying to navigate the dark web for some nefarious purpose, or doing things that you maybe feel guilty about, by and large, you're safe online, safe with technology if you're pursuing it. The challenge comes when it's the other way around, when something's come to you, when something that feels too good to be true, invitations, propositions. That's where most of the safety risk lies.
If I was going to give somebody advice about what to be aware of when using AI, I would first of all suggest that they didn't over-dramatize this to themselves. If you look at every big industrial revolution, people have demonized and scared people about the technology. So first of all, it was the Industrial Revolution, the machines were evil. Then it was the printing presses, and goodness me, everybody was going to be reading books and not paying attention to everything burning down around them. Same with the internet. Oh my goodness, everybody's going to be online and everybody's going to die of hunger because they'll forget to eat 'cause it's so entertaining. None of that has happened. So all I would say is do the same things online that you would do in the physical world. So I used to run a security fundamentals course, and one of the things I'd say to people is, don't type something into a computer that you wouldn't happily write on the wall and put your photo next to. And if you follow that kind of principle, don't do things online that you wouldn't do in reality, you'll stay safe.
I'll come back to the interview that I had with Marty Cooper, the inventor of the cell phone. And Marty says this: we didn't have our privacy stolen from us. We gave it away for free. And I think that's so true. Most of us interact with these technologies without really thinking about the fact that data is passing hands. And so when it comes to AI from an organization's perspective, you need to treat any communication or interaction with AI as if it was being done out in public. It's not a private space. So if you're interacting with ChatGPT, anything you type in, you're essentially saying, hey, you can have this and you can share this information with the world, because it's all getting fed into the model. So the biggest kind of safeguarding thing that I recommend for people is to just act in a way as if you're talking out loud in public. It's the same essence of emails. So if you're sending an email, sending it in a way that you're happy to be read out to the entire room. And that's the same way when you're working with an AI.
The thing that you should be thinking about in terms of safety with AI is the kind of data that you're feeding to models, whether it be your data or data from work. You also need to think about whether it's going to give you the right kind of answer you need. A lot of the time, generative AI will have hallucinations. They are not something that another iteration is going to solve. It's the nature of the beast. You also need to think about dual uses with general use technology. So obviously we've got a lot of concern about generating inappropriate images, deep fakes. More generally with safety, familiarity is your best defense against doing something that isn't maybe ideal with AI, because we're still waiting for those who regulate and are putting together laws to catch up as well. It needs proper risk assessment, and there aren't a lot of people who have the understanding to be able to do that right now, and that's something that I get involved with and try and help improve.
The other thing we have to think about is the ethics behind this. So if you have an AI system where, for example, might be in a car, we're going to get to a stage where we can just say we want to go somewhere and this car will just drive us, allegedly, to where we want to go. Now, if that car has an accident, where does the accident, who's the fault of the accident? Is it me for giving the directions to the place I wanted to go and it took a route and had an accident on that route? Or is it the AI system? And if it's the AI system, how do we kind of rectify? What happens as a result? Is it the company who installed the AI system that kind of gets punished? Not quite sure. I don't think many people are aware what they will do at that point. So there is an ethical issue at the moment in terms of who owns the decision. Who's responsible for a decision that comes out of me interacting with an AI system?